All right, we're here at the bottom of page 5 for section 2.3. So 2.3, page 5b. And number 74 reads like this. In Massachusetts, speeding fines are determined by the formula F equals 10 times the quantity x minus 65 plus 50, where F is the cost in dollars of the fine if a person is caught driving X miles per hour. Use this formula to solve 73 and 74. So here's another situation that if you jump right to 74 on the page, you need to go back up the page to find the background information. So watch for those. Because if I just jump right to 74 on the textbook and I say, if a fine comes to 400, how fast was that person driving? I don't have the whole story here. So back up to where they give you the story that goes with the problem that you're doing. Okay, so we've read it. Let's take a deep breath. Read it again. Let's see if we can identify what we're trying to figure out here. In Massachusetts, speeding fines are determined by a formula F equals 10 times the quantity, or in parentheses, x minus 65, and then plus 50. F is the cost in dollars. Okay, they're telling us some information here. F is the cost in dollars of the fine. So this is the fine. How much? If a person is caught driving X miles per hour. So right here is their speed. In miles per hour is their X. Use this formula to solve. So it says if a fine comes to $400, so my F here is 400, how fast was that person driving? My goal is to come up with their speed. Their speed equals what? In this case, X represents the speed. So I need to solve for X. I need to isolate X. That's my goal here. Okay, so I'm going to start by copying the formula that they give to us. In this case, it's F equals 10 times the quantity x minus 65, parentheses, plus 50. And then they tell me, so this is a given formula here. So I just recopied the given formula, but then they also give us a plug-in here. So my next step is to plug in the given value for F. So they give me a value for F. How do I know it's F? Because they say the fine is $400. And in the description of the problem, they said F is the cost of the fine. So you have to work back and forth between the two pieces of information to come up with your next step, and that is to plug in your given value for F. So I'm going to put in 400 for F equals 10 times x minus 65 plus 50. Keeping in mind, we're in the section where we're solving equations involving parentheses, like terms, lots of variables. So once we get to here, this should look very familiar. This is a familiar situation where we have an equation to solve. So now we follow our steps. We've done the process of taking the story and putting it in terms of a math or algebra equation that we've been practicing how to solve. Okay, so we've done the story problem part at this point. Now what's left is the algebra. You want to get to the point where you realize word problems are really two problems in one. There's the translating of what they give you, and then there's the solving. And you should come to the problem knowing how to do the solving. The issue of the problem is the translating. So once you've done the translating, you can take a sigh of relief, go, yes, I did it, and then you jump into the solving, which you should come with every confidence how to do, because we've been practicing that this whole section. So in this case, we look for parentheses, and indeed there are parentheses on the right side, so we'll remove those parentheses using distribution. We multiply both by x. So I'm left with 400 equals 10 times x, or just 10x, 10 times a negative 65, or minus 650, and then plus the 50. Okay. Next, we then look for, are there any like terms on one side or the other? Again, the left is just 400, so nothing to combine. But on the right side, we have negative 650 and positive 50, so that combines to give you just negative 600. So you have 400 equals 10x, and then those two combine to be a minus 600. So minus 650 plus 50 is a minus 650. Okay, so we took care of parentheses, took care of like terms. X is already on one side, so there's nothing we have to do in terms of picking a side. It's already on the right side. So now we can start undoing what's happening to X. Well, what is happening to X? X is getting multiplied by 10, so I'll do this over here. What's happening to X? First, it's getting multiplied by 10. Sometimes when you're in the story problems, you want to go all the way back to the steps that you know and love and have become able to trust and be confident in. After it gets multiplied by 10, then you subtract 600. If I were to write that in a timeline version, I would say first X gets multiplied by 10, then you subtract 600, and I'd read that left to right. Now we undo that list. We reverse the order, so step 2 is step 1, step 1 follows that as step 2, the new step 2. Opposite operations, subtract becomes add, multiply becomes divide. Go reverse direction on the timeline, right to left. First thing we run into is minus 600, make that opposite, plus 600. Then we run into times 10, we'll divide by 10. Okay. So now follow that prescription. It says add 600, divide by 10. Add 600, divide by 10. Remember on the timeline you read right to left. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add 600. What we get is 10x equal to 1,000. Then we're going to divide by 10, because that's what it says to do next. Divide by 10, divide by 10. And I end up with x is equal to 100. Now what have I done here? I've got x by itself. What was the story that I was trying to answer here? I was trying to answer how fast that person was going if they got a fine for $400. Well, according to my algebra, I've got a 100 miles per hour speeder here. Let's make sure that works though. We still want to check our answer before we state, yep, that's what I've got here according to this situation. So back in our original, which was f equals 10 times x minus 65 plus 50, but we were solving it using 400 for f, so let's go back to that. 400 equals 10 times x minus 65 plus 50. I'm going to take that 100, put it in for x, okay, and see if that equals. So 100 minus 65 is 35. 10 times 35 is going to be 350, and 350 plus 50 is 400. So it does equal. It is a true statement. So I can say my answer here, let's make sure I'm still on the screen. Oh yeah, I'm doing good. I can say my answer here is the person that got the $400 fine was driving 100 miles per hour. Okay? Whew, certainly not safe. Okay? Certainly a costly little decision there. Okay, so that's an example of an application exercise. That should be enough to get you guys through 2.3 again. Tell somebody what you've seen here, copy it completely, note any questions, bring those to class. Also remember, at the end of the section, you'll do some review, keep yourself from rusting, keep everything fresh, keep yourself on top of all the topics as we go through the term, and then preview some strategically created problems that help get you ready for 2.4 and beyond. All right, and we will see you in 2.4. Great job.